Part 7, Shadow Queen Mini-Arc. The Empire of Sunhaven decides to research ancient artifacts in an attempt to be able to possibly counter the seemingly omnipotent power of the Dark Emperor. The Demon Lord, still curious about the Shadow Queen, decides to send one of its most cunning and powerful servants, a Balor known as the Eye of Flame, to infiltrate the Shadow Queen's domain and gather information on her. And then, suddenly he can no longer feel a connection to the Eye of Flame, and thus decides to go with the Empire of Sunhaven's idea of researching ancient artifacts, giving critical information to them. The Empire of Sunhaven, having received the critical information from the Demon Lord, begins its research into ancient artifacts, focusing on those that are rumored to have the power to banish or bind the Dark Emperor. They study scrolls, decipher ancient texts, and consult with scholars and sages from across the world. They also begin to search for these artifacts, sending expeditions into the most remote corners of the realm, and even beyond, into the ethereal plane. The Demon Lord reveals to them that the sacred relic that they have is in truth only the core of it, and that the sacred relic shard they found being guarded by the Storm Dragon was actually a sacred artifact, a piece of the actual sacred relic, which, when fully completed, is the only thing possibly capable of countering the Dark Emperor, considering his power had even God Emperor Marcus Aurelius concerned, and that they haven't the slightest clue how major that truly is. So, they must collect the rest of the sacred artifacts and do a ritual involving them, the main core of the sacred relic, in multiple beings and objects of sufficient and significant. The Empire of Sunhaven, now more determined than ever to bring peace and freedom back to Alabama, begins an extensive search for the remaining sacred artifacts. They send emissaries to foreign lands, offering alliances and resources in exchange for aid in their quest. They also commission the greatest mages and sorcerers in their realm to scour ancient texts and lore for any information that might lead them to the location of the missing artifacts. The Demon Lord then reveals that the thing they thought was the sacred relic was merely the most major sacred artifact, and that the actual core sacred relic is in the temple, church, tomb of God Emperor Marcus Aurelius, in San Marino, the original core of the Empire of Sanctity. The Empire of Sunhaven, emboldened by this newfound knowledge and their alliances with other kingdoms and organizations, launches a massive operation to locate and retrieve the remaining sacred artifacts. Their agents scour the world, searching in every nook and cranny, digging through ancient ruins and exploring forgotten caverns. They cross paths with other factions also seeking the artifacts, leading to tense standoffs and daring heists.
Meanwhile, the Demon Lord continues to secretly aid the Empire, providing information and resources when needed. The Eye of Flame, the Balor sent to infiltrate the Shadow Queen's domain, manages to gather valuable intelligence about her plans and weaknesses. This information is relayed back to the Empire, allowing them to adjust their strategy and prepare for any potential confrontations with the Shadow Queen. But they are all shocked to learn that the Shadow Queen is now, just like the Shadow King, merely a puppet to the Dark Emperor. The Empire of Sunhaven, now more determined than ever, continues their quest to retrieve the remaining sacred artifacts. They send their most trusted agents to San Marino to retrieve the core sacred relic from the temple churchdom of God Emperor Marcus Aurelius. The operation is difficult and dangerous, as they must navigate the treacherous politics of the Empire of Sanctity and face the guardians of the temple, who will not give up their sacred charge without a fight. Meanwhile, the Demon Lord, through the Eye of Flame, discovers that the Shadow Queen has been amassing an army of her own, preparing for a final confrontation with the Dark Emperor. The Eye of Flame manages to steal a map from her lair, revealing her plan to invade the Shadow Realm and claim its power for herself. The Empire of Sunhaven uses this information to their advantage, striking a deal with the Shadow Queen to share the power of the Shadow Realm in exchange for their aid in banishing the Dark Emperor. She asks them why they would want to banish the Dark Emperor, then leaves them shocked by revealing that the Dark Emperor is the origin of why the Empire of Frosthaven came to be, which is in of itself the previous version of the Empire of Sunhaven, thus making the Dark Emperor responsible for the existence of the Empire of Sunhaven. The Empire of Sunhaven, still determined to banish the Dark Emperor, agrees to the Shadow Queen's terms. They begin to prepare for the ritual, gathering the remaining sacred artifacts, and readying themselves for the confrontation with the Dark Emperor. The Demon Lord, acting as a double agent, ritual won't work because there literally is no method, with any hope of banishing the Dark Emperor without the full true sacred relic. The Empire of Sunhaven, disheartened but not defeated, continues their quest for the remaining sacred artifacts. They dispatch their most skilled agents to locate and retrieve them from their hiding places across the world. Meanwhile, the Demon Lord, still serving as a double agent, continues to provide them with valuable intelligence about the Shadow Queen's intentions. The Eye of Flame, embedded deeper within her ranks, discovers that she has been secretly amassing an army of undead soldiers, preparing for a final battle against the Dark Emperor. The Empire of Sunhaven then learns from the Demon Lord that attempting to infiltrate San Marino to get the core sacred relic would be an awful idea due to how immensely dangerous Europe has become over the centuries. The Empire of Sunhaven, still determined to retrieve the core sacred relic, decides to instead focus on locating the rest of the missing sacred artifacts. They send out teams of their most skilled agents to search for them, combing through ancient texts and legends in hopes of finding clues to their whereabouts.